Hey guys, so welcome to episode 5 of the Heart of Medicine interview series. So this particular episode we're going to go for a different perspective, and it's from a patient's perspective, and we've got someone young and entrepreneurial in spirit, and he calls himself a copywriter, author and philosopher, and his name is Jonathon Low. So he's been doing martial arts and copywriting for quite some time now. He was an ex-engineer and he worked in a corporate environment for a few years before he decided to ditch that and then come out of it and do his own thing. But what's interesting about him is that he sees health as part of everything that he does.
And I think the biggest thing that I got from it was that we were talking about health not from a normal medicine sort of perspective in terms of the exercise we do, how we eat. It was more of a holistic look at health in terms of the little small things that we do in our everyday life and how that impacts on our mental health and our physical health.
Yeah, that's right. And how, well, what John was able to identify was having shifts in one small area and making that translate in all the other areas. So if you work in one area and unlock that part, then it will naturally flow onto the other parts as well.
Yeah, has a natural interconnection with everything else. Yeah.
He was really engaging to speak to and listen to, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. So we're not going to spoil too much, and hopefully you'll get lots out of our talk with him.
Enjoy.
Basically, it's more on healing and what you did proactively with your health to get to where you are. So I know you're in the personal development space, but what does that actually mean? So in health, people don't know how to empower themselves.
Yeah, great. So I'm not qualified in the healthcare space.
No,
I'm not qualified in the well-being space. I actually have no certificate. But here's what I noticed that's worked for me. It's worked for a lot of my clients who I coach on the mental side and more on the personal development side. Is in the past 11 years that I've dedicated to actually exploring what it is that allows people to be vital in life, what it is that allows people to have those really awesome relationships, and to actually, explore their passions and a living doing that, and having the time to really just spend on the thing that matters to them most, whether it's family or travel. And here's what I noticed, and it's a really good tagline, is that I noticed that across all those areas of life that people want results, the only true sustainable results that show, right, occur at a very much deeper level than what we think. And let me clarify that. For example, in the health space, people think you've got to eat better. Yes, it contributes. Yes, you've got to exercise. Yes, that contributes to your health. But I noticed that there's actually something beyond that actually sustains health. And I noticed that in careers, in businesses, beyond skill sets, beyond being the best at what you do, there's also something there that governs the performance beyond your credibility, beyond what you can do with a spreadsheet, beyond how you can consult, or how well you can sell, or, how many certificates you have and things. And I noticed the same thing in Taekwondo, which or athletic performance. I noticed a lot of the people who perform in the athletic space, whether it's tennis, Roger Federer in tennis, Tiger Woods in golf, or whether it's Kelly Slater in surfing, or whether it's me in my Taekwondo, is that beyond actually having a strict training regime and adhering to it, and just doing the volume, and beyond just working hard, there's something that all these champions have in common. There's all these things that champions have in common. They have health, they have vitality, that's sustainable. They actually love what they do. Kelly Slater absolutely loves surfing. He thinks he can still compete while he's 50. He's approaching 40 now, from my understanding. He's got 12 world titles. And so there's something very magical, I realized. There's a common thread that cause really long-term, magical, sustainable results in people who dominate their lives. And dominate doesn't mean like they just totally like whip it. Dominate means like they really own what it means to be human for them here on Earth. And the common thread actually comes to this high level thing in the mindset. They all have this similar thing about mindset. And it goes deeper than just mindset about affirmations, thinking positive, reversing, changing your language and everything. And actually when you get deeper, you realize that actually what makes them different is how they actually relate. It's emotional and a mental thing. How they relate, how they experience the world around them What do they tell themselves about the world around them? And that relationship they have with those events causes the results. Now let me explain. For example, a lot of us have traumatic experiences when we're young, and we associate that with pain. The experience, our relationship with those events is pain. Now, what human being in any sick right would think, for example, that having a relationship of pain with something might be useful for their lives. No human will do that. We all do the best. We pick the best thing on the menu that we think we can have with the information and resources we have at any current point in time in our lives. Yeah?
That's right.
So if the only option is really stale bread and overcooked underripe kale, we'll still pick one or the other. And the thing is, what I realized with this pain is actually how they relate to the pain. The relationship is pain, but it's actually the event itself that occurred doesn't necessarily go along with pain. And when we get them to accept that it could have been pain and pleasure simultaneously, pain and pleasure simultaneously, a duality of experiences, when we get that, we give them the right to choose. We give them the right to choose between relating to it as painful, whether it's useful in that moment, or whether relating to that experience is pleasureful, depending on what's useful in their life. And then suddenly we've added options on the menu. We've added one option, but in relating it to two different ways, one option can actually split into many options. So one of the things that happened in my life was I used to have this thing that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And what that drove me to do was everything I achieved so much because I never felt I was good enough. And that was useful. You might think I'm not worthy is a useless thing to say, but it was a useful condition for my life. It made me get all these degrees. It made me perform highly. It made me get high-paying jobs. It made me be able to process knowledge at freaking ridiculous paces. But what I realized was when operating from I'm not worthy, not good enough, no matter how much I achieve, I keep trying to achieve more because I never feel satisfied. And when I just almost get there, I don't. I sabotage. When I'm about to get that award, I say, I don't want it. Or when I go to the last exam question, my system purposely goes, instead of getting 100% John, I'll give you 98%. And that happened in year 11. And what I realized was that, oh, damn. But it was useful. It made me who I am today. Today I can process so much. I write on a good spring of 3 months, a good stretch of 3 months of work doing what I love, I can write 10,000 words a day. Great writers used to say you write 1,000 words a day, you'd be fine. I did a count, I was like, oh shit, I've never counted before. And I wrote 10,000 words a day. And I realized that, so then it was useful. And then how it was useless for my life, the polarity of how it was useless in my life, was that it made me tired. It didn't give me fulfillment. The fulfillment is very complete. It's a very beautiful word. Feel the energy behind fulfillment, because fulfillment is whole and complete as a word in language itself. I didn't feel fulfilled. I feel always something was missing. And so how that showed up in my life, I was stressed out. So my stress levels increased. And stress, as you know, is not good for health. But what happens with stress? What happens in the health space? The other space. Fascinating. What happens in the health space when you stress? You stress eat. What isn't filled inside your heart, you try and fill it with food that you think will give you that pleasure, but that momentary pleasure only ever lasts momentarily, and it shows up on my stomach lining. Right? It affects my vitality. That's why chocolate and stuff is so, useful. And some people, to another extreme, they get, and people who haven't acknowledged the pain, they get the other thing in the relationship space. They try and get from a relationship with another individual what they feel is missing within themselves, because they haven't acknowledged that they're whole and complete. And the reason they haven't acknowledged whole and complete is every event equally gives you pain and pleasure simultaneously. And I learned that from Dr. DeMartini. I kind of took it further with my own frameworks and applied it to life. I want to honor my ancestry. It's not me. I'm just the messenger. I'm not the message. And every generation in this flow of the universe will pass on the message to the next generation, who will contextualize it for the times and make it useful then to progress humanity, however it may seem. And what I noticed was, wow, the same thing shows up in relationships. Same thing in results, vocationally in my life, showed up in relationships, showed up in my health. Got pimples, stressed out. I couldn't sleep if I'm stressed out. If I'm never good enough, I keep working my ass off and forgetting about my health because I work late nights. But then I try and go to sleep. I don't feel fulfilled. I don't get a deep sleep. I get a shorter sleep. I mean, I don't need papers to show that this might affect your health. I'll get someone else can reference how lack of sleep screws up your health, right? And so then I noticed then if you get lack of sleep, you feel tired, you feel frustrated. How does that show up in your relationships? It affects your relationships too.
Absolutely.
So the takeaway here is that I want you to acknowledge what I realized in identifying what this common thread is I realized not what the common thread was. I don't know what it is. I have no answer. The answer is actually different for everybody in everyone's life. It's quite unique. But what I noticed was it's not what it is information-wise. It's actually the structure of it, the shape, the form. And the form that I realized it was that a shift in one area of your life is a shift in all areas. A shift in one area in your life is a shift in all areas. So if you want to enhance your health and health's value to you, and you try and identify that thread, it'll affect all other areas. But, for example, if your health's not intact, and maybe what's important to you now is actually to resolve your relationship. And then what we realize is when we work on this mindset thing, right? You go into this relationship you have with events around your life, and if you resolve that in your relationships, suddenly, I'm in love, everything's okay. Like what do you want to do? You want to, you eat well, you do things together, you're happy, your emotional state's enhanced, and then suddenly your health goes up. You're happy, you're confident, you got the support of a partner, you go to your career, you nail that son of a bitch. I got a woman, I got the man of my life supporting what I love to do, and you don't feel alone. So the biggest takeaway is a shift in one area in life is a shift in all. And so in the health space, notice that health, let's presuppose something. If a shift in one area, a shift in all. A shift in all areas is also a shift in all. Which means you have an opportunity, not just in your health space, whether you eat right, or whether you exercise right. It's actually everywhere in your life you have an opportunity to actually relate to your events in your life and to people differently. All of that is actually an opportunity to increase your vitality. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is it that we actually don't need to necessarily adhere to regimes? Not necessarily. I say not necessarily, I'm not sure. In some cases it might be. Not necessarily have to adhere to drinking X number of waters a day, eating the right foods all day, sleeping the fixed amount of time, or committing to a rigorous exercise regime and feeling guilty and unfulfilled eating crap. It's that you don't want to eat. Because you eat, if you eat...
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, if you eat healthy food in the state of guilt of eating that healthy food because you feel guilty because everyone tells you that it's wrong to eat animals. And you eat that food not out of love but for guilt because I feel judged, I feel like a bad person if I eat that. The emotional state of guilt hurts your health, can hurt your health as much and undo the benefit of actually eating the healthy food. I learned that. Let me honor the ancestry. I honor Natalie Baldock for that. She's from Perth. She's a thought leader. She overcame a battle with cancer, and because she realized this, she said a beautiful quote. She said, sometimes it's not what you eat, but if you're going to eat crap, eat it well." And she said that, and I realized, wow, what a beautiful thing. And from there, wow, every day, every experience, you have an opportunity to relate to something that's going to either increase your vitality or decrease it. So some people at work, what happens when a boss pisses them off and they relate to the boss as a dickhead? They get stressed out, they lack focus, they're in a state of blame and shame. Your fault. What happens when they go to a work desk? They're not focused. They purposely sabotage the work because they don't want to give the boss good work because the boss didn't acknowledge them, or they feel bad about the boss about how they related to that circumstance. Vocational performance goes down. They don't get their pay rise. Their bank account goes down. They get a pay rise. They spend more time in stress than being present for their relationship. Their relationship goes down. But what if we related the situation with the boss differently? What if we thought the boss thought that he had more potential and was being hard on him because he saw that he could be more? Wow, a supportive relationship with the boss, a different way to relate it. And suddenly the boss goes, you know what, now and then, if you want to spend time with your family, you're working hard, I kind of want to acknowledge you for that and give you 4 days a week rather than working 5 days. What can they do with extra 1 day? They can fulfill the other needs in their life that are important to them. And then what happens when the boss supports them and supports their growth? His motivation in work goes up, his vocational performance goes up, his commitment to the job goes up, his pay salary goes up. So notice that even like, and then on the bus, people say, they're catching transit, catching bus to work. What a waste of my time. But if you relate to transit time as a waste of your time, you don't value your time. Because you still get on that freaking bus. So then, if you get on that freaking bus, you've committed to that freaking bus, how can we make that time useful? And what I did was I listened to audios about self-help space. I loved transit time. I started to appreciate what I had right now in my life. And that gave me plentiful. I got takeaways. Takeaways, I mean principles. Nuggets of gold from those self-help programs that I listened to on the bus. And then I started applying in my work to transform my space. And sure enough, I did negotiate down 4 days a week. And I got to the level where my relationship with my boss was so good that he wanted to help me leave the company properly.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. But the corporate space is evil. Bullshit. The corporate space is full of human beings living a life doing what they can, doing the best they can with the information and resources they have. Why wouldn't they try and help you if you're open to helping yourself? Because we're all in the game together. So you can transform the corporate space. It's not where you are. As opposed to, you get on the bus, my life sucks, fall asleep, but I still get on this bus, feel unfulfilled, you go into work, you learn nothing on the bus that can be useful for your work, and you get up the next day and do it all over again. Can you see how two situations give two people very different lives based on how they relate to that? The bus is a waste of time, or the bus gives me time to do something useful. So then the quality of our questions actually govern our relationship with things. So the quality of our questions, I quote DeMartini again, the quality of our questions determine the quality of our results we get in life. Because the quality of our questions actually gives us different quality information. Because we ask a question, we get different answers. A quality question, you get quality answers. Quality answers, quality knowledge, you make use, and presupposing a human being makes the best decisions they can with the information and the resources they have, better information, they make better decisions. And it shows up in their life. It's so beautiful. And the thing is, people, like in the health space, I'm trying to make this useful in the health space. One thing that I notice is also the instant fix, lose weight really quickly.
Right.
Look beautiful overnight, or boost your energies.
But even if people say in the alternative health space, if they're looking for, self-development or self-help, if you like, it's still not sustainable. They'll probably be thinking, I could really relate to you, John. I really can, okay. But how do I do that in my own life, and how do I, what kind of little steps can I take? Because you exemplify it.
Yeah, so
what's your own story behind it?
Notice the languaging is always how. People look at someone who gets results and they go, how do they do that? It's a good question to ask. But the thing is, how normally gets you more how. How to, you see it in books, how to book, the how to blog post.
Yeah.
The how to, this freaking audio we're recording now is a how to.
Yeah.
And, in the I Ching philosophy, it's beautiful. They have this structure of flow of how you actually get unblocked in your life. And how is actually the last thing you do in a cycle. How is the wrong question to ask at the start. Because, I always say, what if we shifted it to why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be healthy? How do I get healthier? And you go, why do I want to get healthier? Oh wow, this does that much for life. And if it inspires you, that reason inspires you, then the hows figure themselves out. And someone beautifully, I don't know, it's been going around in self-help space for a long time. It's a simple statement. When the why is strong enough and clear enough, the hows figure themselves out. So in I Ching philosophy, the structure is why, which is the spirit. Why do you do what you do? Because the spirit exists in the consciousness of this planet and exists in this human mortal form for a reason. If you want to become more spiritual, then just pure consciousness and not a human being, that's useful, but it's not useful for a human experience, because somehow in the universal flow you're experiencing humanity right now, right here. Then we go, okay, great. So why am I here? And then when you go, why am I here? You realize what you're here to do. The next step, why? Then the what, the cycle. This is how the cycle goes. The why is infinite, it's the spirit. But you go to the what, and then from the what, who becomes clear. Who in your life will you have? Who's going to support you? Who do you want to be around? You get clear on the what, the who shows up. The who. After the who, you get when and where, a sense of timing. When would I like the what to happen? When and where? Wow, the location reveals itself. Now I've got all this information. I've got the team that I want to build. I'm clear on what? I'm clear on my why. I'm clear of the deadline. Now that there's suddenly a deadline, I have to get off my ass and do something. And at that point, the question of how becomes useful. At that point, the question of how becomes useful. So what's useful if I ask the questions? I always ask, why? Why would you like your health to be better? And I go, what does having better health do for you? Why? What? And then I go, other than you, who else benefits from this? And I ask them, who doesn't? And then when they say who doesn't benefit from them, then I identify the guilt and shame around the individual that they've related to when they're young incorrectly. It could be a rich man that was a prick. Rich people are pricks, but I want more wealth. But then we go back to the who and resolve that. It's beautiful. I'm making this up now. I actually realized I did it. But now we go, okay, great. Now, wow, we resolve who. Now you're getting some momentum. And then the when and where shows up, wow. When and where would you like the results you'd like in your life? When and where? And now there's timestamps there. Oh my gosh, the acceleration there. And then in the internet space is an abundant freaking knowledge sharing base now. There's an infinite number of hows, but because you clear on the what, who, when and where, you pick the hows for yourself. And then the hows just figure themselves out. And then the cycle continues. And then when the why is clear, you get another what. What do you want to create? And then so the form of evolution. And then that evolution goes forever. Forever.
So can you share a little bit about...
The universe is actually spiral, circular, but helical, going to infinity. Circle is revolution. Infinity is resolution. Because infinity, in helical form, resolution means getting what's blocked out of the way so you can continue a journey of infinity. What was your question?
I was going to say, can you... now I just almost broke my train of thought. Doesn't matter. What was your journey through that point to get to this point? Your bit of your story. Because the audience doesn't know you as a person. We know you.
So look, I'm a Madman Asian with glasses. I look about 10 years younger than I actually am. I'm 28. And who I am, at the moment I label myself as a writer, author, philosopher, specifically in the human potential space. And how I got to this, I always say it's useful. What got me on this journey was that at the age of 16, I walked into a Taekwondo training dojo and there was a master, and I just trusted him. And I wanted to learn martial arts. Actually, I had originally thought to go into Chinese martial arts, but then I went to Taekwondo. There was a connection. And I get committed to that training. And then when I trained, initially it was an escape haven for me. I could train there and feel great, build my confidence in getting better at the martial art, because at the time I was never good enough, so I achieved. And I was hiding, I hid away my pain, which was I wasn't acknowledging that I wasn't feeling good enough, and that Dad never acknowledged me. And so I went into this haven of escape, and it was useful for the time. But what I realized was then I started doing tournaments in Taekwondo. I started realizing that I could have won every fight. Not fight, but gameplay. But towards the end, I'd always sabotage my results. I always do something silly, like fix my glove. Or don't listen to what my coach says, when the game plan's so clear. And it frustrated me as hell. And it got me, I felt hurt that I lost. This is the thing, I didn't acknowledge that I didn't feel good enough. I didn't acknowledge that. So I kept going, oh, it's fine, yeah, I did really well. And everyone reinforced that, yeah, you did well, it was only your first time, mate, whatever. And I kept doing that, and I kept losing, and the universe kept giving me the same pattern. I realized, shit, what am I missing? And one day, year after year, when I thought I'd be in my own business, I targeted that at the age of 24. I thought I'd be where I am today at 24, but I'm 28. 4 years, fuck. Got late. But, and then I realized that one year, I looked at my life, and I kind of cried. And I cried to my brother. I said, Andrew, man, I keep trying, and to be honest, I'm not where I thought I'd be today. hear the tone in that voice. I'm not
Despair, isn't it?
I'm not where I thought I'd be today in life. It is a bit despair, but at the same time, there's a humility. As opposed to, oh yeah, things are great. Like, seriously, nothing's wrong. I'm on the way. Like, seriously, I don't need that. And that feel that vibration is closed off and disacknowledging a part of themselves. So then you're not feeling fulfilled. And when I acknowledged I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I was in that humility, I suddenly got revealed what actually was happening in my life.
Okay. So suddenly a lot of clarity showed up?
Yeah, clarity. Wow. Clarity about present state, which I was denying. I thought everything was okay, but everything wasn't okay. And then, but because of that, it gave me the roadmap, point A on the roadmap to point B, which is where I wanted to go. Wow. Because it got me into reality. And to get from point A to point B, now suddenly the coaches showed up, the when and where showed up. When you're going to have your coaching session, when you're going to do a workshop, and the hows figured themselves out. I've met the right coaches along the way, NLP Marine, Carl Buchheit. He helped me resolve a lot of things. He got me to appreciate my life in the present state. He got to appreciate my life as a whole, because the degree to which you can appreciate now and your life as a whole, fulfilled, right now, is the degree to which you can move beyond it and change your life. But if you don't acknowledge that pain and re-imprint it to realize that it was beneficial for you, but acknowledge it and get real with now, we can't move to beyond. Actually, our barometer on the map becomes an elusive map where you're trying to chase point B, but you don't know where point A is. And that's why I was chasing my tails for so many years. So after Taekwondo, I've been doing that for 11 years, and then, I found all these coaches along the way in the process of deepening my relationship with self. And I was like, if I can give you one piece of advice, what helped me was every time that I wasn't sure about present, every time I was unsure about myself, I just reached out, acknowledged that I needed help, committed resources that I'd otherwise commit to just indulging in food or traveling and trying to escape my pain. Like people say, oh, I can't afford the coaching session, the workshop, a few $100 and stuff. That's bullshit. People spend more on Friday night drinks, eating crap, dealing with health issues, traveling and escaping reality. When they don't truly love travel, they think they need travel. People who truly love travel, that's fine. But people who think they need travel, do everything else. They go to mainstream, they try and find themselves somewhere else. They move. Now it's okay to move from Australia to England. A lot of Australians move to England, get another career. It's the same thing. It's just the view outside the window from the office is different. They come back and they realize, wow, I didn't need to be somewhere else to fulfill that. It was right here in front of me. And it's funny, but it's a tough journey. And so then that all, all the magic resolves itself when you can acknowledge that and get help. But then it went beyond that. The rabbit hole went beyond that. Suddenly, I met coaches who said, really responsible coaches, when I kept looking for them help, I was actually looking them for the quick fix. They became the piece. They started becoming the piece that I thought I was missing. Shit. Oh my gosh. And so then the results were still stagnated. And I asked myself, for my life. And so I was in my career, I was trying to start my own business. I just wanted to work from home. Writing, doing what I love. And and then I came across a coach who refused, Carl Buchheit actually refused to give me too much change and refused to book in with any more coaching sessions with me because he goes, John, you need the time now to not rely on us, but to trust your own voice. And if I say yes to this coaching session, you're relying on me. If I say no, you deepen your relationship and trust with yourself. And the more I trust myself, the more everyone else trusted me. And the more I trust myself, the more everyone just gives me their money. Anyway, the more I trust myself, my vitality went up, my weight dropped. I mean, you guys look at my skin tone. It's quite good. I'm quite slim. Yeah. I just did a whole 9-hour workshop. Yeah. And I'm energetic. My voice is kind of raspy. That's cool, but clear, mental clarity. How I feel like light as day. And so realize that rabbit hole never ends. Even right now when I coach, I have to resolve, I have to resolve things in my clients. The pain, they're not acknowledging it. I have to breathe that pain in and go, shit, where was that? Where did that show up in my life? And can I appreciate it? Because if I can appreciate it, they can appreciate it. Because I give them permission to be a bit different. about things. Maybe that event was useful. Oh yeah, I can see how that event's useful in my life. I had that too.
Yeah.
And you know, when the audience, you know, like they want change and they kick up the fuss, their system kicks up fuss. Oh, what you're saying, John, is wrong. That's bullshit. I don't agree. It's right. It's wrong. It's right. It's wrong. I'm gonna switch off. Like, seriously, who do you think you are? Like, you're just a young schmuck, like, teaching me about this stuff. Like, who the hell do you think you are? And it's heavy. And then what I realized was, the universe is a self-reflective mirror. Everyone is a unique pattern, but everyone expresses everyone's unique pattern within their own lives. Ooh. And then what I realized was that everything they saw me as, whether negative or positive, was a reflection of their own life. And when I got to appreciate that, suddenly I had all this access to information that, oh my gosh, you're angry at me? So, that must mean that there's something in your life that you're angry about. Oh shit, let's go there together and resolve it. You're confused? You're not clear? Like you think I'm fluffing? Oh, maybe I am fluffing. Thank you. What wasn't, and what's not clear for you? See, then the question comes, what's not clear for you, dude? And they tell me. So it guides me to the right questions. So I suppose, what's a useful way to conclude this?
All of that. Go on, Kevin.
So it sounds like the biggest sticking point people have, like in medicine, in terms of medicine, people are so caught up in the quick fixes. What's going to fix this symptom for me? What's going to fix that symptom for me? But really, at the core of it, it comes down to your relationships, and particularly your relationship with yourself, first and foremost.
Absolutely. Relationship with yourself,
And
because
really
your relationship with yourself is a relationship with others.
Yeah.
Because how you relate to yourself, you show up in others. The boss is angry. You're angry at the boss. Oh great, you're both angry at your own lives. Fire up.
Yeah.
And so in concluding, then that's a very beautiful statement that Gavin said. I kind of want to conclude with this line, right? Which is, health isn't something you arrive at. Health is the journey. How do you get the quick fix? There is no journey. And what we're trying to appreciate in NLP Marin, it was my coach Carl Buchan, I want to kind of pay respect to him, my ancestry. He said we make change excruciatingly slow, painstakingly freaking slow, so that people learn to appreciate every present moment along the way. And that journey of appreciation, the present journey on the way, is actually what the universe wants for us. He wants us to appreciate humanity, human life. Because if you're where you want to be instantly, then dude, you shouldn't be on this planet. Why would you be here if you had everything you wanted? Let's presuppose that everything you actually want on a deeper level is the journey, not the end result. And so in health, it's like the path to health. The path to health is the wellness. The path to health, appreciating the path, the slow path to health, to true health and sustainable health. That is where wellness lies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
John. Honestly, thanks.